Hello there, my friends. Today I'm going to share a book with you called If, and it's all about the possibilities of using your imagination. Now, believe it or not, this very painting hangs on the wall in the teacher's lounge where we ate lunch every day at CGS, and I can't wait to appreciate looking at it again when we go back there. Look closely. Take a moment and look closely and see what you can see about that cover. It's not what you think at first. If, by Sarah Perry. Some little ants crawling across this page. So this book was published in 1995 by the J. Paul Getty Trust. And John Paul Getty was a lot to Southern California what William Randolph Hearst was to the Central Coast. He was a very rich man, but he also created some beautiful museums for people to enjoy with amazing paintings like this. If cats could fly. If mice were hair. If worms had wheels. Wouldn't that be something to see? We'd be racing them like race cars, those worms we had in our worm bin. If frogs ate rainbows. Now, when my kids read this book with me the other day, they immediately got disappointed and said, no, the frogs cannot eat the rainbows. And I said, what if they ate the rainbows and then burped them back up again? Then we'd have double the rainbow. If dogs were mountains. Isn't that beautiful? Reminds me of the Mystery Science that I posted on Tuesday. If zebras had stars and stripes. Wouldn't that have been something to see? The zebras on the way to the elephant seals. If music could be held. I love that page. I know Mrs. Brintrailer wishes she could hand you music every day. We're trying. It's hard. If ugly were beautiful. I think that's a warthog. Look carefully at this one. If toes were teeth. Could you imagine wiggly toes in your mouth? If caterpillars were toothpaste. If whales lived in outer space. I want you to think about what planet you think that is. My daughter made a prediction that it is the largest of the planets and it has the big red eye on it, but we don't really know. If leaves were fish. Did you notice that on the cover page? They look like leaves and oranges on a tree, but they're not. If clouds were spirits. Now these are all different animal spirits if you look closely. I see a polar bear. I see a mouse. I think I see a tiger. Oh, and a rhinoceros. Maybe a few human faces. It's a fun thing to do when you have extra time. Go outside and just see what you see in the clouds. If butterflies were clothes. That was my daughter's favorite page. If lightning made rhinos. That would be something magical to see. Definitely some wild weather like we talked about. If ants could count, you could go outside and they could help you solve your triple digit addition problems, perhaps, in your math book. If the moon were square. Now, my kids also immediately noticed something kind of that didn't make sense about that page, because this says square. But this is not exactly a square. See if you remember the name of a shape with squares on the edges, but it's three-dimensional. It's not flat. I bet you remember. If kids had tails, wouldn't that make our pants look different? If spiders could read Braille. Now, if you don't know, Braille is for people who cannot see or have a hard time seeing. So instead of flat letters on a page like this, these are actually bumpy, not in this book, but real Braille. If you walk by an ATM or some other thing, that sometimes they have these little bumps outside and you can feel them, so you can read by touching without having to look. Oh, they really like the tail on that spider too. Isn't he a beautiful illustration? Or she. Could be a she spider. If hummingbirds, oh, shiny, told secrets. Then we could sit in the garden at school and learn all sorts of things. This is my favorite page. If this is the end, then dream up some more. So if you have time today for a fun challenge, see if you can write your own mini if book. All you have to do is take a piece of paper or two, fold it in half, and voila, it's a book with one big word on the title. We went to bed saying these the other night, and my daughter could hardly fall asleep. She had so many fun and silly ideas. I miss you. Stay healthy.